Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack the absolute foundational components of modern circuitry. I'm talking about the tiny unsung heroes that engineers use in, well, basically every single electronic device you own. Whether you're charging your phone, turning on a smart light, or running a heavy-duty motor, these components are behind the scenes doing the heavy lifting. We're going to look at relays, transistors, and MOSFETs. By the end of our time together, you'll know exactly how they work, how they differ, and why picking the right one is arguably the most critical decision an engineer can make.
Okay, let's dive into this. A super common question beginners ask when first looking at these components is, are MOSFETs and transistors essentially just relays? I mean, at a fundamental level, they all do the exact same thing, right? They just switch things on and off. But as we're going to see, saying a MOSFET is just a relay is kind of like saying a space shuttle is just an airplane. Sure, they both fly, but how they do it and what they're actually capable of, entirely different worlds. You know, this confusion makes total sense. Manufacturers love to save a buck, so they pack completely different internal technologies into the exact same black 3-pin plastic packages. Seriously, they look identical. But the consequence of guessing wrong? Oh boy. If you swap a BJT for a MOSFET without really knowing what you're doing, the circuit will immediately celebrate your mistake with a little fireworks display. In the engineering world, we affectionately call this releasing the magic smoke. And once that smoke is out, yeah, your component is dead for good. So, how do we avoid releasing the magic smoke? Let's start right from the beginning.
Section 1. Relays. Slow and steady.
The relay is our reliable, old-fashioned workhorse. It is purely mechanical. It physically moves metal contacts back and forth, which is exactly why it makes those distinct, satisfying clicking sounds when it operates. Inside, there's just a simple coil of wire. When current flows through that coil, it generates a magnetic field. That invisible field reaches out and pulls a spring-loaded metal arm right across a tiny gap, snapping it shut and closing a completely separate second circuit. Turn the control current off, the magnetic field collapses, the spring pulls the arm back, and the circuit opens. It is brilliantly simple. And it means a tiny, safe DC current, like maybe from a small temperature sensor, can safely switch on a dangerous, high-voltage AC mains-powered fan while keeping the two circuits totally isolated from one another. But here's the fatal flaw. Because a relay is physically moving pieces of metal around, it's severely limited by the laws of physics and friction. A relay can happily switch a few times per second, but think about a modern computer processor. It needs to switch billions of times per second. If you forced a mechanical relay to switch anywhere near that fast, it would sound like a high-speed machine gun for a fraction of a second before literally vibrating itself into a pile of destroyed metal dust.
Section 2. Transistors, or BJTs. The need for speed.
So engineers needed something vastly faster than the mechanical relay, and the solution they found completely changed human history. Now, what's really interesting here is this quote. When you crack open a BJT transistor, you won't find any tiny coils or springs. You'll just find a tiny, microscopic piece of semiconductor material. It's totally solid state. There are absolutely zero moving parts. It honestly looks like cheap alien technology. Because nothing is physically moving around, a transistor can switch insanely fast, and it essentially never wears out. Let's break down how this alien tech actually works using a very grounded water pipe analogy. Imagine water flowing through a main pipe, but it's blocked by a disc. We connect a smaller, secondary pipe to this main one, and in that smaller pipe, we put a heavy swing gate attached to a pulley. Because the swing gate is super heavy, a tiny trickle of water just won't move it. You need a specific, continuous flow of water or current to force that swing gate open. As water pushes the small gate open, the pulley pulls the main disc out of the way, allowing a massive rush of water to flow through the main pipe. In a BJT, supplying current to the base pin forces the internal gate open, allowing a much larger current to flow through the main circuit. But here is where transistors totally leave simple relays in the dust. You see, a relay is just on or off. There's no in between. A BJT, however, can be partially open. This introduces a literal superpower called current gain. Current gain basically means a tiny variation in the control current results in a massive, proportional variation in the main current. This is exactly how amplifiers work. You take a tiny, incredibly weak electrical signal from a microphone, feed it into the base pin of a transistor, and it acts like that swing gate, allowing a massive, powerful current to flow perfectly in sync with your voice to drive a huge, booming speaker. Down at the chemical level, this whole thing works because the BJT is made of layers of N-type and P-type silicon, creating what's known as a PN junction. Naturally, this creates a barrier that stops electricity dead in its tracks.
But when we apply a voltage in the correct direction, a process called forward bias, that barrier physically shrinks and collapses, allowing the electrons to freely rush right across. But BJTs aren't perfect either. They've got a fatal flaw too. Remember the heavy swing gate in our water pipe? To keep the main pipe open, water must continuously flow against that swing gate. In a BJT, to keep the switch on, you have to feed a continuous flow of electrical current into the base pin. If the load you're controlling is really large, well, that base current has to be pretty large too. And continuous current means wasted energy, which ultimately creates heat. And let me tell you, delicate electronics absolutely hate heat.
Section 3. MOSFETs. Efficiency and precision.
That massive heat and energy waste problem, that led engineers right back to the drawing board to create the modern heroes of efficiency. A MOSFET is basically the evolved form of the transistor. It still has 3 pins, but just to make life a little confusing, they have different names: the gate, the drain, and the source. But here is the absolute game changer. MOSFETs are voltage controlled. They do not require a continuous flow of current just to stay on.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why that matters. Let's look at a new water analogy. Imagine a main pipe blocked by a spring-loaded disc. There's a control pipe attached, filled with water. But instead of water flowing through the control pipe, we just apply pressure to it. When the static pressure in that control pipe reaches a certain threshold, it physically pushes the heavy spring-loaded disc out of the way, allowing the main water flow to begin. To keep it open, we don't need a flow of water, we just hold the pressure. In a MOSFET, applying voltage to the gate pin creates an electric field that magically pulls electrons into a channel, opening the switch. Zero continuous control current required. Because they don't waste all that control current, MOSFETs run vastly cooler, they switch incredibly fast, and they absolutely dominate modern electronics. But wait, they have their own unique and frankly frustrating problems. The gate pin of a MOSFET acts exactly like a tiny capacitor, meaning it actually stores electrical charge. When you command a MOSFET to turn on, it happens so brutally fast that a massive, near-instant burst of electrons rushes into the gate pin. This sudden inrush current is violently powerful and can instantly fry the delicate microcontroller board you're trying to use to control it. So engineers do the logical thing, right? They put a resistor on the control wire to act like a little speed bump, slowing down that initial rush of electrons. Problem solved. Well, actually no. Fixing the first problem creates a brand new fatal flaw. Because the gate acts like a capacitor, it holds onto that pressure. When you turn your microcontroller off, the electricity literally has nowhere to go. The charge just sits there, stored in the gate, and the MOSFET gets permanently stuck in the on position. Your circuit is now totally out of control.
Luckily, there's a very clever fix for this. We add a second, high-value resistor, but this time we connect it directly to the ground line. This is what we call a pull-down resistor. Now, when the gate receives voltage, the switch opens normally. But the very second you turn your controller off, that stored-up, trapped pressure in the gate pin suddenly has an escape route. It slowly and safely drains away through that high-value resistor right into the ground, and the MOSFET safely shuts off. Problem actually solved.
Final section, choosing the right component. So now we understand the mechanics, the flaws, and the fixes. Because as an engineer, knowing how they work is only half the battle. Knowing exactly when to use them is everything. But first, a quick public service announcement. Before you even try to pick the right one for your circuit, you have to physically identify them. Some of these modern surface mount transistors and MOSFETs are literally smaller than a single grain of rice. If you drop one on your carpet, just accept that it belongs to the vacuum cleaner now. You will be squinting at microscopic fonts or relying entirely on digital component testers just to figure out which pin is which before you even heat up your soldering iron. So the crucial point is this. Here is your ultimate cheat sheet. If you need to safely isolate a high-voltage AC circuit from a tiny DC sensor, use a relay. Just accept that it'll be a bit slow, click pretty loudly, and eventually wear out. Now, if you need to amplify an analog signal, like an audio wave, reach for the BJT transistor. It's incredibly fast and super cheap, but prepare for it to waste a bit of energy and get hot. And if you're building a modern, highly efficient power supply, dimming LEDs, or driving a high-speed motor, the MOSFET is your undisputed champion. It is insanely fast and runs cold. Just remember to wire up those pull-down resistors so it doesn't get stuck storing a charge. Navigating all this can definitely feel overwhelming at first. But mastering circuit design doesn't actually require memorizing dense, abstract math textbooks. As the source material emphasizes, the most effective way to really grasp these concepts is through visual, interactive problem solving. By sketching out diagrams, adapting to guiding questions in real time, and actually seeing how the current flows when you swap a component, you build a deep, intuitive understanding rather than just relying on rote memory.
And that brings us to the end of this explainer. You now possess the blueprint of modern electronics. You understand the mechanical brute force of the relay, the alien speed of the BJT, and the elegant electric field pressure of the MOSFET. So I'm going to leave you with this question to ponder. Based on the exact voltage, speed, and heat requirements of your very next build, which of these components will you use to finally tame the current and prevent the magic smoke? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.